Okay, team, you prepared for this. You've done the homework.
Huh?
Okay, most of us have done the homework. You're a finely tuned machine. The machine is a finely tuned machine. But if we're gonna win this great race, first we have to rally. Who's with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Rally on 3. 1, 2, 3. Rally! A world of wonder, where fantastical music machines provide the soundtrack for a tantalizing stroll through history. Vintage automobiles and memorabilia stimulate the senses around every chromed curve and corner. This is Inside Stahls. The Great Race started in 1983 with the idea of racing pre-World War II vehicles across the country for a significant cash purse. It was such a crazy idea that the inaugural event drew 69 participants, with 62 completing the journey from Los Angeles to Indianapolis. 41 years later, the race is still going. But for just the second year, the Great Race is hosting a spring rally, which brings us to Stahls. As a participant and a sponsor, Stahls makes a major commitment to the Great Race, and this year will serve as the official finish line to the second annual Spring Rally. These regional rallies are competitions based on precision driving and navigation skills in a classic, antique, or vintage automobile, like this 1964.5 Ford Mustang, which is a veteran of 2 great races and last year's inaugural Spring Rally. We'll have more on the car in a moment. The Great Race is a 9-day event. The Spring Rally is 3 days, which starts and ends at the same location each day. The rally takes place over a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but begins on a Thursday with Rally School, where teams are taught how to read rally directions and how drivers and navigators need to work together. It's great for newcomers, but also good practice for the veterans. 92 teams will participate in this year's Spring Rally. Cash prizes are at stake. Rookies can use modern cars for practice, but rally cars must be 1974 or older, which brings us back to Stahls and the 1964.5 Mustang. This is not your ordinary 64.5 Mustang. It's been set up to be a Great Race rally car. Our friend Trey is here to tell us the difference and why these things are necessary if you want to participate in the Great Race. Trey, under the hood, it looks fairly stock, but there's been a couple of changes.
Well, that's right. So it does have the stock 260 cubic inch V8, which was 1 year only for this Mustang. One of the few changes is this battery cutout switch right here. It disconnects the battery from the electrical system, which is a safety feature, but also can prevent parasitic drain from draining your battery overnight. It also has this coolant overflow tank here, which is, it just collects the coolant that would otherwise go overboard.
And while the distributor looks stock, there have been some changes there as well.
Yeah, so there is a magnetic pickup in there that tells this controller right here every time that the engine makes a revolution, and that allows the time-wise speedometer in there to work. And that is a changeover stock that is required by the race so that all racers have parity, the same speedometer.
Trey, I understand there's some suspension upgrades as well. Why is that important?
Well, these upgrades help the car to corner faster and more reliably. It also keeps it safer at a higher speed. One of the biggest changes is a front subframe kit from CJ Pony Parts, which is a subframe connector, basically a large steel plate here that braces the front suspension, keeps it tighter when in a very quick turn. It just makes it corner much better and handle much better at speed, which is important for a race.
Well, we've dropped the top on this 64.5 Mustang to get a look at the interior because obviously some alterations have been made here, Trey.
Yes, that's correct. So the 64 Mustang didn't even have cup holders factory. So this center console has a Velcroed aftermarket cup holder set there. Other features that we have are mostly in the driver's compartment here. We have our time-wise speedometer here. This is the required Great Race speedometer, but it gives complete accuracy all the way to 50 miles an hour.
Why isn't the stock speedometer sufficient for that?
By make and by car, speedometers are more or less accurate. And a car from this era, it'll be accurate at around 60 miles an hour, but have a margin of error on either side. And to give each racer an even playing field and a very legible Speedo.
And there's a rally pack on this car?
Yeah, so Ford offered this accessory on a lot of their cars in this era. It has a tachometer and a clock, and they actually call it the rally pack. It was designed for giving you the accessories you would need to do this kind of rallying back in the day.
That is a rather sizable rear view mirror. What's the purpose for that?
It's just a spring-loaded attachment here, but it allows you to see the widest field of view you can with your rear view, which is really helpful when rear visibility is limited, especially on a convertible like this. When the top is up and there's dust on that vinyl window, it is impossible to see.
What's the story behind this clock that was stolen from Flavor Flav?
Oh, well, that very large dial there is to help the navigator.
Okay.
The navigator has a complicated job of reading a chart with every turn and every direction for the race at the same time as they're running a stopwatch with that chart and keeping track of that time there. All three of them are important and they have to keep track at all times.
And the navigation directions and instructions are fairly detailed and specific, aren't they?
Yes, and very visual. They give you a chart with, if you have to turn at a specific sign, that sign will be labeled exactly how the text is written. If you have to stop your stopwatch when you pass reach the end of a cow pasture, it'll say, you know, cow cattle grate, stop your stopwatch.
It's that specific.
Yes.
In the trunk, it looks like organized chaos, but there's a method to the madness here.
Yes, so there's a number of things that help support a racer out and about. Spare antifreeze coolant. You have a flashlight, which is something you have to have. A number of other features like fix a flat. We have a bottle jack, even in case of emergency. But this whole trunk is outfit for safety. The race requires first aid kits, road flares, and jumper cables even. And all of these help to keep you safe, and if you end up on the side of the road, get you off the side of the road quickly so that you can get back to racing.
Right, and that concludes this episode of Junk in the Trunk. Oh, there's another benefit to these spring rallies. The driver-navigator relationships are very important. If you're going to be spending 9 days driving across the country together in a classic car, you might want to make sure you're compatible. But really, what could go wrong? Listen, I'm a little bit rock and roll.
I'm a lot country.
I said rock and roll. Oh!
Okay, it looks like in 50 yards at that tree, we're going to go right.
But that's
I mean
left.
I mean
No, that's right.
What
are you talking
no,
about?
No, back. No, back.
We can't go back.
I got to pee.
Again? You just went.
What are you, my wife?
What are you, did you have to have the big gulp? Was that necessary?
Yes.
You're literally pissing away our chances to win this thing. Like I said, nothing to worry about. The rally will arrive here at Stahls on Saturday, May 4th at 4:30 p.m. It's open to the public, and then on Sunday, someone will go home with a checkered flag. Drivers, start your engines.